Hello, my name is Kyle Huerta, and I'm going to be covering a review of Blue is the Warmest Color. This is a film review published by the British Film Institute, and I'm going to go into my thesis statement and start off from there. The thesis statement I'll be using to cover this review is this film review argues that lesbianism is washed away by the male fantasy of lesbians. I'm also going to be commenting on the male gaze as part of the male fantasy of lesbians with this as well. So I'm going to transition us over to the article summary. In whole, the article review of the film goes into depth about how things were filmed, which we'll talk about in the next section, and how Adele was portrayed versus the graphic novel and the film, and just the things that were lost through that. The review comments on taking out the use of journal entries that were in the graphic novel and also erasing the parents' homophobia from the film, which was quintessential parts of the queer experience that really played out in the graphic novel that were lost in the film. The reviewer also continues to shine a light on the film. The review talks about the scenes in Morrow's novel at the playground and how it's actually pivotal to the commentary on traumatic state and church homophobia. In the film reviews, the author expands on how pivotal the playground scene was in the novel and how changing the outcome, just like they changed the outcome in other parts of the film, actually once again took away the validity of queer experience and what it means to be queer and why it's impactful in that way. Finally, this review shines a light on how lesbianism is melted away. The lens that we see this film through, as the reviewer says, is it's a hypersexual male fantasy or a doomed lesbian relationship that will never work out. The review points out that this shows Emma can be in a stable, sexless relationship or a sex-filled, unstable relationship, which is both extremes in each of their own rights. Transitioning over to issues of genre and form, the reviewer talks about how there was a follow cam at the beginning of the shoot and how once that follow cam was shot at the back of Adele's back, that was continually something that was repeated throughout the film. And the issue that the reviewer points out with this is that it's the female gaze is what we're thinking we're looking at, but it's done from the male gaze perspective. And the reviewer says that it's very apparent that this is exactly what we're looking at as an audience, and it takes away from the lesbianism in the film. The actor Adele herself, she expresses herself through movement and verbal delivery, and the male gaze seems to just take all of that and kind of crumble it down, as the reviewer says, as it gets edited and watered down and make her something that's easy for consumption and something that we all want to lust over or drive towards. Moreover, the reviewer comments on how Adele is perceived as an quote-unquote all-eating, all-dancing, and all-fucking body. The shots of her chewing fat on ham and sipping on oysters with Emma reinforces these idea, whittling her down to just an object that is to be enjoyed by us, the audience. The author also argues that the overuse of the color blue throughout the film actually dilutes its meaning from the original text, where in the original text there was shots of Emma's blue hair, where we saw that there was luster like, and throughout we get things like handbags and nails and walls. And the reviewer just says that really watered down the real desire that was put out in the graphic novel that was lost in transition into the film. So, in closing, I just wanted to bring us back to my evaluation of this review. I thought the review did a really great job of not just giving us a summary of the film, but actually analyzing the film and using some of that queer theory and queer eye, queer specter that we've talked about in class. I think this reviewer did a really great job of proving the point that this film was a watered down version of what it could have been, because the lesbianism kind of melted away when the male gaze just was the focus of everything, and how just the simple things that we see of her desire and the way that she eats and all these little pieces that were put and given to us and the way that it was filmed, it actually took away the lesbian experience and melted away the powerful meaning of the film, which I think we lost from the graphic novel as well in transition to this film in some ways. I think the reviewer did a really great job of proving that point but also still giving the, credit that is due to this film for how phenomenal the acting was and how really ahead of its time it was itself. But after reading this review and kind of reflecting a bit more, I do feel like I have a better understanding and respect, and especially when it comes to the male gaze and lesbian films.